Hi, I'm Ethan Skolnick, CEO of 5 Reasons Sports, also host of the 5 on the Floor podcast on 5 Reasons Sports. Check out 5reasonsports.com for all of your local free sports content. I've got David Eversole with me today. We're going to do something a little bit different, though. We're going to tell you about a great new sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, something that fit perfectly with what we're trying to do here, which is everything we try to do at 5 Reasons is timely. We don't want you to wait. Sports fans are not patient. They want to be able to watch what they want to watch now. They want to listen to what they want to listen to now. And they want to bet now. Fantasy leagues, in terms of going for an entire season, that was fine. A lot of people still do it. We've got one inside our network as well. But we all know that by week 3 or week 4, sometimes your season is over. There's nothing left to do. Your best players are injured. You can't even make trades. You decide to stop setting your lineup, or you're in a league where everybody else has stopped setting their lineups, and you're pissed because you need somebody else to beat somebody else. And the person that you need to beat, the other person is not even paying attention anymore. So that's where daily fantasy comes in, but not just any daily fantasy. So what Dave and I are going to talk to you about today is our new sponsor, PrizePicks. And this is a spin on the daily fantasy that you've seen before. It does it a little bit differently. I think it's a lot more fun, and not just because I won the first couple times I did it. But Dave, can you give a brief primer on what PrizePicks is?
Well, PrizePicks is a little different, like you said, because you're not looking to compete against another team directly. You're just competing against the over or under on a particular player. Will player X go over a certain amount of points? So we'll put up an example here on the board. These are some of the Sunday players that we have up, and you're just looking at whether or not they're going to go over under these totals. Does Calvin Ridley have a good matchup against Carolina with 17 points? That's a pretty favorable matchup. And then you got somebody like a Boston Scott who's going to take over for Miles Sanders starting against the Giants. And 12 fantasy points is kind of a low total for running back. So there's a couple of intriguing plays there. And it's in the moment. You're not so worried about a weekly investment in are these guys. You just look at the games and what's on the slate right now and make your picks based on matchups, which is really exciting. It's a lot different, and it's a lot more in the moment, I think, and current than some of the stale seasonal fantasy modes, and even some of the things like DraftKings, where it's a lot more complicated. This is pretty simple. Do I think they're going to have a good game, or do I think they have a tough matchup and are going to go under? And you look at the point totals of certain players and how they perform. Like Daniel Jones has been struggling, and that's a pretty low bar for a quarterback, 16, though, against a mediocre Philly defense. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it on a game-by-game basis, which is a lot more interesting than trying to just slug through a whole season where you're trying to project weeks in advance. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, and it's not just the NFL, too. We want to make clear. We were doing this during the NBA Finals. You know, if you went over for Jimmy Butler in Games 3 and Game 5 of the Finals, you probably won your matchup, right? You won a
World
little bit
Series.
of money. But they're also doing the World Series right now as we speak, and then college football as well. I'm sure whenever college basketball comes back, we'll see that too. So there's an opportunity to bet on a whole bunch of different sports. And really, again, the two key things are you're not stuck with a team for the entire season. And 2, if you're doing daily fantasy, you may only have a minute to do it. So this allows you to kind of look it over. Okay, I like that, don't like that. You make the bet and you move on. So we've been promoting this not just on 5 on the Floor, but also on our 3 yards per carry Dolphins property, our Canes properties, 5 Rings Canes, and also the 6th Ring, which you can find here on our YouTube channel. One other advantage here, if we give you a code, it's FIVE. We made it simple. Instead of being for each different property in the 5 Reasons Sports Network, it's one code for everything. It's so basically you will double your initial deposit. So you need a little extra money to play with at the very beginning. Use the code FIVE and you'll get it. Again, it's PrizePicks.com. I'm ahead right now. I'm thinking about this Thursday night matchup. And this is another reason. Giants-Eagles, there is no reason to watch that game. There's no reason. As we're speaking here, this Thursday night game between a Giants team without Barkley and the Eagles obviously struggling the way they're struggling. There's no reason to ever watch an NFC East game unless you're doing fantasy, and this is the way to do it.
Well, one thing cool also I like is the flex option, because you pick between 2 and 4 players across multiple sports. But with the flex option, you can even miss one pick and still win. So it gives you a little bit of a grace period, if you will, because there's a little room for error, which I like too. So if you miss on one pick, if you have a parlay with 3 or 4 players across different sports or even within the same sport, it gives you a lot more options and a little room for error too, which is nice.
All right, so that's David Eversole. You can find him at David W. Eversole. I forgot my Twitter handle here, but at 5 Reasons Sports will do it. Make sure you can check out PrizePicks on Twitter. That's at PrizePicks. or prizepicks.com. Very simple, 100% deposit match if you use the promo code 5.